It was a Friday evening when I realized I would be home alone. My parents had gone out for a late dinner, leaving me in charge of the house. I was 15, confident I could handle it, until the first strange thing happened. The house was quiet. The kind of quiet that pressed against your ears and makes ordinary sounds feel amplified. I was in the kitchen making a snack when I heard it, a soft shuffle from the hallway. My heart jumped. I paused, listening. Nothing. I shook my head. Just the wind, I told myself. But the feeling of being watched didn't leave. I carried my plate into the living room and sat down, the television filling the room with static noise as I scrolled through channels. That's when I saw it. A shadow, taller than any human, slipping along the far hallway wall. It moved differently than a person. Too fast, too smooth. It stopped when I looked at it directly. My pulse spiked. I convinced myself it was a trick of the light. My mom's old lamp cast weird angles at night. I tried to calm down, but the shuffle came again, closer this time. Toward the stairs. My stomach knotted. I grabbed a flashlight from the drawer. My parents always kept one handy, and crept toward the hallway. Every creak of the floorboards made my chest tighten. I swung the light around. Nothing. Just the empty hallway. I exhaled slowly, trying to shake the fear. But then the shadow appeared again. At the far end of the hall, watching. I froze. It didn't move like a human. Its limbs were too long, bending at angles that made no sense. Its head tilted unnaturally. And though it was entirely black, I could feel eyes on me. Focusing. I whispered, "Who's there?" No answer, only silence, thick and suffocating. The shadows started moving toward me, gliding, almost floating across the floor. I stumbled backward. My hand hit the wall. I ran, upstairs toward my bedroom. My legs moved faster than I could control. Behind me, the hallway seemed to stretch endlessly. The shadow was always there, just at the edge of the light. I slammed the door shut and locked it. Heart pounding, I pressed myself against it. My flashlight flickered. Then I heard it. Soft, almost inaudible breathing. Not my own. I peeked through the crack under the door. The shadow didn't move away. It stood there, still silent, as if waiting for me. Hours passed like that. I couldn't sleep. Every sound, a creak, a sigh, even the wind, made me jump. I stayed huddled in my bed, flashlight trembling in my hands, until the first rays of sunlight broke through the curtains. When I finally dared to look at the hallway, it was empty. No shadow, no signs of anyone else. Just the quiet house I thought I knew. I told myself it was a dream. Or imagination. A trick of fear alone in the dark. But the next night it returned. This time I wasn't just frightened. I was hunted. I didn't tell my parents what happened. They wouldn't believe me. Even I tried to convince myself that the shadow was nothing more than exhaustion and nerves. But the second night proved I was wrong. They went out again, just for an hour, they said. I didn't want them to leave, but I didn't want to look scared either. I tried to act normal. As soon as the front door shut behind them, the house seemed to exhale, as if something inside it had been waiting. I stayed in the living room with every light on. I turned on the TV, not watching it, just listening to the noise. My body was tense, every muscle ready to run. At first. Nothing happened. Then the lights flickered. Once, twice, 3 times. Then the hallway went completely dark. I swallowed hard. Not again. The TV began to distort. The sound warped, voices stretching unnaturally low, like someone dragging a fingertip down a vinyl record. Then the screen went black. I was alone with the silence again. Then the breathing started. Slow, heavy, wet, not behind me, not in front of me. It came from the hallway, the darkness itself pushing the sound outward. Like something large inhaling, I forced myself to stand. My legs shook so violently, I almost collapsed. I grabbed the fireplace poker, the closest thing to a weapon I could find, and stepped toward the hallway. "Leave me alone," I whispered. A whisper answered back. But it wasn't a human voice. It was my voice. "Leave me alone." My blood turned to ice. No. No, no. The shadow stepped forward, emerging from the darkness like ink spreading across paper. It was the same height as the night before, but now its form was sharper, clearer. The long limbs bent like broken branches healing in the wrong direction. Its head tilted, as if studying me. Then it spoke again, this time mimicking my mother's voice perfectly. "Honey, open the door." I stumbled backward. "Stop it. You're not real." It laughed, a distorted, glitching echo, as if it was trying to figure out how laughter worked. The shadow's arm extended toward me. Not reaching, pointing. I followed its gesture with my eyes and realized with horror that it was pointing upstairs. To my bedroom. To the closet. "I saw you there," it whispered using my own tone. "Last night, when you looked under the door, I felt like vomiting." I hadn't seen anything under the door. Nothing. But what if it had been inside the closet the entire first night? The lights in the hallway flickered back on for a fraction of a second, and in that moment, I saw the shadow closer. Inches from me. Its face, if it had one, hovered near mine. A void so deep it felt like falling. I screamed and swung the poker wildly. It passed right through. The shadow dissolved like smoke. Then reformed behind me, I bolted toward the front door, but it slammed shut on its own. Every lock clicked into place. Then the windows rattled, not from wind, but from something pushing against them from the outside. The house trapped me. The breathing was everywhere now, surrounding me, filling the walls. The floorboards shuddered under each inhale. I dropped the poker and covered my ears, falling to my knees. "Stop!" The house went still. The lights returned. The shadow was gone. The front door unlocked by itself. My parents walked in seconds later, laughing about something from their night out like nothing had happened at all. But I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I just stared at the hallway where the shadow had been, expecting it to return any moment. That night, I slept in their room. The next morning, we packed our things and moved out within the week. My parents said it was for unrelated reasons, but I think they knew or felt something was wrong with that house long before I did. Sometimes, even now, years later, when I turn off the lights at home, I swear I still hear breathing in the hallway, and sometimes, when I'm really tired, I hear my own voice whispering back. Nicole never liked staying home alone. Not because the house stood on the outskirts of a small Vermont town, surrounded by woods and the soft glow of distant porch lights. She actually loved the quiet. But in that quiet, there was always something else, something old, cold, too attentive. She blamed her imagination for it, childhood fear of the dark, maybe. Until that night, it truly had been just her imagination. That evening, her parents left to visit friends in Boston. The drive was almost 4 hours, and they wouldn't be back until early morning. 17-year-old Nicole assured them she would be fine. Homework done, movie chosen, dinner warmed. The house was solid. The dog, a huge German shepherd named Margot, roamed the rooms. Nothing bad could happen, but around 11 p.m., Nicole noticed Margot acting strange. First, the dog stopped by the living room window and stared into the darkness, as if watching something between the trees behind the house. Then she gave a low, rasping growl. Nicole approached, stroking the dog's head, but Margot wouldn't look away. "Hey, don't scare me," Nicole whispered. "Probably just a raccoon. There are tons of them here." Margot didn't react. When Nicole tried to pull her from the window, the dog stepped back, then quickly walked down the hallway toward the staircase to the second floor. Something in that movement felt wrong. Not dog-like, cautious, alert. Almost panicked. Nicole returned to the couch, turned the movie up louder, and tried not to think about how focused Margot had been on the forest. Then came a sound. At first, she thought it was from the movie. A soft tapping. Then another. Slow, measured with long pauses, as if someone was testing whether she could hear it. Nicole paused the movie. The house grew so silent that her ears rang. The tapping came again from the back door, the one leading to the porch, and the woods. The door her parents always checked twice at night. The door Margot had growled at last summer when someone walked near the house. Though no footprints were ever found, Nicole's heart tightened. The hallway stretched before her like a dark tunnel. At its end, a square of moonlight glowed on the carpet. The door was around the corner. She couldn't see it, only hear it. She grabbed her phone, turned on the flashlight, and stood. Something deep inside told her she shouldn't go. Really shouldn't, but she went. Her steps echoed in her throat. She reached for the light switch, then remembered the hallway bulb had burned out that morning. It seemed trivial at the time, now almost like a warning. The tapping repeated, louder this time. Nicole's fingers trembled. She peeked around the corner. No one in the hallway, but the back door trembled faintly, as if someone lazily ran a fingernail across it. Then, very softly, Margot's collar tag jingled. Nicole turned. Margot stood behind her, hackles raised, staring not at the door, but above Nicole. Toward the top of the staircase, Nicole lifted the flashlight. The beam jittered across the railing, the steps. And, for a few seconds, it seemed like a figure was standing on the landing. Tall, thin, black like a shadow. But too tall, too stretched. It didn't move. And as the light passed over it, the shape slipped backward, not walking, not turning, just withdrawing, dissolving deeper into darkness. Margot growled with a depth Nicole had never heard. Desperate, protective, terrified, and then, again, the tapping at the door. But now different. Not slow, not testing. Sharp, intentional. Like something outside sensed the fear inside. Like it enjoyed it. Nicole backed away from the door. The handle twitched. Just a tiny movement. As if whatever was out there wanted her to know it was aware of her. She turned to run toward the stairs, but froze. On the wall beside the door was a long, dark smear. Something had dragged along the paint. Something wet, leaving a streak that stretched from the floor upward. Toward where Margot had just been standing. It felt like something was already inside the house. Leaving marks. Nicole inhaled to scream, but at that exact moment, a single step creaked on the staircase. The first step. The step you touch when you begin to descend. Nicole froze. The creak on the staircase wasn't loud. It was almost gentle, as if whoever stepped on that stair weighed very little, or knew exactly how to distribute their weight to avoid making noise. That somehow was worse. Margot pressed. Close against Nicole's leg, her growl bubbling low in her chest. The dog's stare was fixed upward, but she didn't move, as if stepping away from the spot would draw whatever was up there closer. Nicole forced her hand to rise. The flashlight jittered as she lifted it toward the staircase again. Nothing. The staircase was empty. The landing above, blank, dark, but Nicole felt watched, not the distant, vague feeling of paranoia. This was sharper, precise, as if something was leaning forward just past the edge of the darkness, not visible, but ready. She swallowed hard and whispered, "Mom, Dad, please answer." She lifted her phone. No signal. Not even a single bar. That had never happened before in the house. Even in storms, she'd get at least one. Another creak. Nicole flinched. This time it came from 2 steps higher, like something retreated, correcting its position after she raised the flashlight. It was moving. But only when it wasn't lit. Her hands shook so hard the phone nearly slipped. She backed away 1, 2 steps until her heel touched something soft. Margot. The dog lunged past her suddenly, barking once, a short, explosive sound, and then sprinted toward the living room, toward the front of the house, not up the stairs. Not toward the sound. As if she sensed something worse upstairs. "Margot," Nicole whispered, but the dog didn't return. The house felt wrong now. Too still. Too cold. Then the tapping at the back door began again. Except it wasn't tapping anymore. It was scratching. Long, deliberate, dragging scratches across the wood. Something that wasn't trying to get in, not yet, but announcing that it could whenever it wanted. Nicole spun toward the hallway. The dark smear on the wall seemed longer now. She wasn't sure if it actually was, or if her eyes were playing tricks. The smear almost looked like something had pressed a hand or a claw there and pulled itself up. Her breathing hitched. She needed to find Margot. She needed to get to the front door, get outside, find neighbors. Then she heard it, not scratching, not tapping, not footsteps, a whisper. A whisper from upstairs. A breathy, stretched, croaking whisper that shaped itself into her name. Nicole. She didn't scream. The sound was so unnatural, so wrong, that her fear went beyond screaming. It entered some hollow, paralyzed state where her body simply refused to respond. The whisper came again, closer this time, sliding down the stairs like a cold fog. Come, E-R-E. Nicole turned and ran. She didn't think. She just sprinted toward the living room, toward where Margot had vanished. Her socks skidded on the hardwood floor, almost sending her crashing into the wall. Margot! She gasped. The living room was dark except for the bluish glow of the paused movie. Shadows clung thickly to the corners. Then she saw the dog, crouched low, teeth bared, staring at the front door. Not the staircase, not the back door. The front door. Something was outside, and something else was inside. Nicole took one step toward Margot when the house rumbled with a sudden, heavy sound. A thud. From the upstairs hallway. Then another. Something large was moving now. No more delicate creaks. No more cautious, weightless steps. It walked with intent, like it finally decided to stop hiding. Thud. 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 Nicole back toward the front door. Gripping the doorknob with slick fingers. It wouldn't turn. It wasn't locked. But the knob twisted only halfway, then jammed, as if someone on the other side was holding it. Margot barked wildly, lunging at the door. Something on the porch growled back. Deep, guttural. Nothing like a human or an animal Nicole knew. She stumbled away. Trapped between upstairs and outside. Thud. 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 Steps reached the top of the stairs. For a moment there was silence. Then slowly, something leaned forward into the faint blue glow from the living room television. A shape. A long, stretched, wrong silhouette. Its limbs too thin, its height too tall, its head tilted sharply, as though broken at the neck. It didn't breathe. It didn't blink. It just watched her. Nicole choked on sobs. What do you want? The figure didn't answer, but something outside did. A slow scraping moved along the front of the house, toward the living room window. Something heavy brushing the siding, dragging itself closer, matching the rhythm of the thing on the stairs. Inside, outside, closing in, Margot barked frantically. Then retreated toward Nicole, trying to push her back, away from both doors. Away from the window, away from the stairs. Away from everything. Nicole grabbed the dog's collar. Where do I go? Where do I go? The figure on the stairs stepped down one stair. Just one. But the temperature in the room dropped instantly. Nicole's breath fogged. She tasted metal on her tongue. Margot whined, pulling her toward the narrow hallway that led to the basement door. The basement. It was the last place Nicole wanted to go. Her parents always kept it locked, always told her not to wander down there alone. But now a crack spread across the living room window as something outside pressed against it. The figure on the stairs took another step. Nicole didn't have a choice. She yanked Margot's collar and ran for the basement door. Her hands trembled so badly she dropped the keys twice before finding the right one. Behind her, steps descended faster now, no longer careful. No longer pretending. The window cracked again. A split like a spiderweb crawling across the glass. Nicole threw the door open and plunged down the basement stairs with Margot. She slammed the door behind her, locked it, and pressed her back to it, shaking violently. Above, something reached the living room. She heard the boards groan under its weight, but she also heard something else. A second set of movements. Slow, heavy, scraping. Whatever was outside had entered through the broken window. Two things. Inside the house. Both searching. Both descending. The basement light flickered. Then died. Nicole grabbed Margot, burying her face in the dog's fur as the floorboards above creaked under two different sets of footsteps, coming closer, down the hallway. Toward the basement door. One of them stopped right above her. She could hear it breathing now. A slow, rattling inhale, as if lungs that had never known air were learning how to use it. Then the basement door handle began to turn. Slowly, silently, purposefully. Nicole held her breath. The metal clicked. The handle dropped 1 inch and stopped. The footsteps retreated. First one creature, then the other, walking back through the house. As if satisfied. As if they had found what they wanted. As if they knew she wouldn't leave the basement until morning. Nicole's parents found her at dawn. The basement door still locked. Margot guarding her, hackles raised. Nicole shaking, unable to speak. Every door in the house was wide open, and on the wall beside the back door, the long dark smear she saw the night before had multiplied. Dozens of them, like handprints dragged upward toward the ceiling. They never discovered what made them. The house was sold. The marks were painted, but at night, in other homes across America, families sometimes hear tapping when someone is left alone. Soft at first, testing, waiting dot, and sometimes when the lights are off and the house is quiet, a tall, thin shape watches from the top of the stairs just to see who notices.